Apple have positioned the MacBook Neo as a budget-friendly entry-level laptop, perfect for everyday productivity like email, video calls, web browsing, schoolwork, etc. Apple have also had a bit of a bad habit, or well, maybe a good habit for us I guess, ever since the release of their M1 Mac line back in 2020 of drastically underestimating the performance of their machines. People are still using the 6-year-old M1 MacBook Air on a daily basis for creative things like music production, video editing, all that good stuff. In my time with the MacBook Neo, I've been using it daily for a couple of weeks now. I've found that that is very much the case here as well, especially when it comes to music production. In this video, I'll take a good old look at the MacBook Neo, talk about what it's good at and what it isn't, and how it fares when it comes to music production. And I'll also be answering your questions about it. Before we jump in though, I want to thank OneOdio for sponsoring this section of the video and for sending over their new Studio Max 2 headphones for me to try out. Now, I've actually been testing these while working on this MacBook Neo setup, and what immediately stood out to me is the latency performance. These use OneAudio's new RapidWell Plus 3.0 wireless system, and with the included transmitter, you can achieve just 9 milliseconds of latency, which honestly is low enough that playing software instruments and monitoring in real time actually feels surprisingly natural. And that's kinda the big thing here. Normally with Bluetooth headphones, there's enough delay that making music just feels disconnected and a bit janky. But these are clearly designed more with musicians, creators and DJs in mind rather than just for recreational listening. Sound-wise, they've got a pretty balanced tuning as well. Nice tight low end, clear top end, and they support both wired and wireless listening with high-res audio support. You've also got LDAC support, Bluetooth 6, up to 120 hours of battery life, and they come with a proper hard case, which is nice if you're travelling with gear regularly. OneAudio actually worked on these directly with Cashmere, which is pretty interesting, and there's also a limited signed edition version available on the website alongside an exclusive Cashmere sample pack when you register the headphones. So if you want to check them out for yourself, I'll leave links and a discount code in the description below and in the pinned comment. Thanks again to OneAudio for sponsoring this part of the video. Let's get back into it. Now, the MacBook Neo might be Apple's most affordable MacBook, but it sure doesn't feel like it. Apart from one specific part, this feels just as premium as a MacBook Pro, many times the Neo's price. Its aluminium body feels fantastic and sturdy, and you can actually even open it with just one hand, which is nice. The keyboard feels similarly great. The typing experience is slap bang between the keyboard on other MacBook models and the iPad Pro's Magic Keyboard. What does feel different though is the trackpad. The trackpad on the MacBook Neo features a mechanical clicking mechanism rather than Apple's usual haptic forced touch trackpads. The entire surface can be physically pressed to click. Now, I'm a tap to click kind of guy. It's actually one of the first settings I change when setting up a new Mac, so this doesn't bother me at all. And if you've ever used the original iPad Pro's Magic Keyboard, this feels very similar. Around the front, you get a 13-inch liquid retina display with brightness sitting at around 500 nits in SDR. Colour reproduction here is absolutely good enough for things like GarageBand, light video editing, photo work, and general creative tasks. Now, you don't get some of the higher-end display features found in the MacBook Air or especially the MacBook Pro. Things like True Tone and the more advanced display technologies, so this probably isn't the machine you choose for really colour-critical professional work. But for music production, content consumption, and day-to-day creative tasks, the display is absolutely solid. Port selection is pretty minimal, which won't surprise anybody familiar with Apple's more portable machines. You're looking at one USB-C 3 and one USB-C 2 port alongside a headphone jack, so the overall philosophy here is clearly simplicity and portability rather than loads of built-in expansion. For music production though, you're Probably gonna need a dongle. Alright, so I think the one thing a lot of people focus on immediately when it comes to the MacBook Neo is its 8GB of RAM. And I know in 2026, on paper, 8GB of RAM seems very small, but I think context really matters here. The MacBook Neo is not trying to be a MacBook Pro replacement. It's not designed for somebody running massive orchestral templates in Logic Pro, editing multicam 8K footage, or loading up hundreds of plugins across giant professional sessions. What Apple seems to have done here is target a very specific kind of user. And for that user, 8GB of RAM makes a lot of sense, I think. For GarageBand projects, songwriting, beatmaking, podcast editing, student work, web browsing, streaming, and even light Logic Pro sessions, more on that in a second, the MacBook Neo feels surprisingly responsive and capable. Apple Silicon is just incredibly efficient with memory management compared to older Intel models, so that 8GB of RAM goes a lot further than people may expect. I was able to run large-size GarageBand projects with software instruments, audio tracks, multiple plugins, Safari tabs open in the background, and it handles that workload comfortably. More than comfortably, actually. I really struggled to push the Neo using just GarageBand, in fact. But how does it deal with Logic Pro? Well, the best way to really push this thing and see what it's capable of is using the Logic benchmark from musicprod.com. I've used this project loads of times when testing various iPads and Logic Pro in the past, and it's a great way to discover the raw music-making power of pretty much any Apple machine. The basic premise is you download and then load up the Logic benchmark project file, set Logic's buffer size to max, 1024 samples, set the project off, and unmute as many tracks as possible until the machine freezes and throws up a system overload message. MusicProd.com have a list of Macs and their median results. It states that the MacBook Neo can manage 55 of these tracks before overloading. In my testing, I managed to squeeze 59 tracks out of the MacBook Neo using this benchmark project. That was with nothing running in the background and after a restart, so bear that in mind. For comparison, the M5 MacBook Air can deal with 155 of these tracks. The 2020 M1 MacBook Air with the same amount of RAM can deal with 80 tracks. The M4 Mac Mini can do 133 tracks, and the base model M5 MacBook Pro can run 179 tracks. Considering that this is basically an iPhone chip inside a MacBook, 59 tracks isn't too shabby, and if you are wondering if this thing was even remotely capable of handling proper home studio music production, well, there's your answer. I also asked you lot if you had any questions about the MacBook Neo and music production. Eric was wondering about compatibility with older plugins. Well, like any Apple Silicon Mac, you'll be able to run plugins that haven't been updated with Apple Silicon compatible versions through Rosetta, Apple's in-house translation layer. For now, there are some rumblings that this might not be the case for much longer, but for now they work the same way as they would on any other Mac. JC was curious how it handles the Creator Studio suite. Very, very well. We already looked at how well the Neo runs Logic, and it deals with every other app included in the Apple Creator Studio just as effortlessly, with the one exception there being Final Cut Pro. Can the MacBook Neo run Final Cut? Yes, absolutely, though you may run into the machine's limitations quicker than you would inside music production programs like Logic. Don't expect to run a half dozen 4K clips simultaneously on the MacBook Neo. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Moby Pixel was curious to see how it performs while screen sharing to an external monitor. Laptop on the go, big screen at home. Well, it performs very well when hooked up to my 4K monitor and is just as smooth and snappy as when using the built-in screen. Do note that the MacBook Neo only supports one single external monitor, so it probably won't be suitable for you if you want to run a multi-screen setup. And Isaiah was wondering about track limits and comparisons to iPads. We looked at track limits inside Logic earlier, and you should expect to squeeze maybe a little more than that out of a GarageBand setup. As for an iPad comparison, well, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an upcoming video where I'll be comparing Apple's entry-level MacBook to their entry-level iPad. I think the MacBook Neo sits in an interesting sweet spot where it gives people access to the Mac ecosystem, Apple Silicon performance, excellent battery life, and creative tools like GarageBand and Logic Pro without forcing them into MacBook Air or MacBook Pro pricing. If you're a beginner music producer, a student, somebody upgrading from an older Intel MacBook, or even an iPad user looking for their first proper computer for music production, the MacBook Neo is an excellent choice. Let me know your thoughts on the MacBook Neo and whether you fancy picking one up down in the comments. And if you could like and hype this video while you're down there, I'd really appreciate it, as it helps more people see it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.